Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division for the Winter Major Tournament. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. And before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also visit golfclashtommy.com for more Golf Clash related content. You can get the text guides already by subscribing to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Yes, the Ultimate Tournament text guides are out. Get them and get yourself an advantage in this tournament already from today. Tough tournament where hole number 3 is the toughest of them all. And you know, I'm looking for drops obviously, but I'm also looking for safe routes where we're not going to make any stupid mistakes. We're playing aggressively on the par 3s, giving ourselves chances with win 5 balls, and then on the par 4 we will be getting there. We definitely will be getting some drops in the end. This playthrough, if counting it all together, is going to give you a -13 as a score, which in every bracket would be at the top, but we can definitely do more. Make sure you comment in the comment section below or email us at tommylofberg@gmail.com if you do have any questions. So let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1 here, we're going to play with a power 4 ball as a start. Obviously you can play with different type of ball, but power 4 ball here is actually going to be perfect. And that's also a ball that we do have a lot of. 6 bars of top spin, as much side spin to the left possible. Then we adjust for a maximum distance plus 10%. Once we do have done that adjustment, if we aren't in maximum distance, we're gonna push ourselves up to maximum distance. Now we are in maximum distance, so that's not going to be an issue. Approximately 1.2, 1.5 ball of curl to the left, and then we're gonna go full overpower. And obviously playing with full overpower is never something that we do love to do, but in the end, great left and great right and still going to be fine. Now we come up to a yardage that is 403 yards. That's going to leave ourselves up for a kind of a minimum distance long iron. So we're going to look for the ball guideline there on the green using approximately 2 bars of backspin, and those backspin bars is something that will change from time to time. It obviously once again depends on how far did you go with the drive or how short did you go with the drive, and that's something you need to be flexible with throughout the tournament. Minimum distance with a 10% over adjustment was this adjustment here. We bounce and we then get the ball to roll here, and you can see that we just missed that one to the right and we weren't entirely in minimum distance and need to think about that going forward. This one has been getting a decent amount of drops already for myself, you know, so by tweaking a little bit and continue with the structure there and really be focused on how I read the club range. Like if I'm not in complete minimum distance, then I should not play minimum distance. So in the end, very good, very important start I would say, because I do feel that hole number 1 is actually going to be close to a must if you're gonna have something to do with winning the tournament. Hole number 2, we're going to go for a rough bump, and I consider this one to be one of the best opportunities that we do have in the tournament overall here. And now we're going to play 5 bars of backspin and 6 bars of side spin to the right is what we do want to go with. You can see that I'm using just slightly more than 4 and more side spin to the right actually. So once again, we do want to tweak that one and go with 5 backspin, 6 bar of right spin. Minimum distance with a 20% over adjustment. And as you can see here, we are playing with one of the Daruma balls, I think it's called, which has side spin 3, win 5 and power 1. It doesn't really matter what type of ball you're playing with, just that it has side spin 3, because a side spin 2 ball will not be a possibility to, it's not going to be possible to use a side spin 2 ball without having to adjust super duper close to the rough line there on the right. You are able to hit great right, great left, and you will still clip the rough. That has been tested by myself and others, so no reason to be worried about that. Good chance though, we need to tweak it, we need to dial it in, but we're gonna get there. For hole number 3, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come to the hardest hole in this tournament, and here I'm going to try to present a way where we do not have to go with overpower with our drive. First and foremost, you can see that I'm adding 7 bars of topspin and as much side spin to the right possible. And now my focus is on the ball guideline, so I always start with the spin, and then after that I take a look at the ball guideline, trying to base my position off that. You could see that I was very close to the bushes there on the top left. I would like us to be just on the left side of the lamppost that is in the center there. Because now we are going to take a shot with max curl right, and we're going to want this ball to bounce on the fairway and then roll here on the other fairway as far down as possible. The good part with it is, like, if you are a little bit too much to the left, which is easy to be on this hole, then you're still going to be falling down there. So it's better to be left than it's going to be right, I would have to say, at least with the drive. So we need to move our position a little bit more to the left as a starting point. Just to add as well, you adjust maximum distance plus 10, push up your target into max once you're done, and then you take your shot. And a power 5 ball is definitely the option we do want. As we rolled into the rough there, we aren't really in the distance that we wanted to. And the thing that I do as a mistake here is that I'm actually playing with the Cataclysm level 6. I should be playing with a Horizon if I do have a club that is below, I would say, maximum topspin, like for an example the Cataclysm level 6. I also under adjust this one, like for some reason I was just portraying myself playing the rough bump there on front, so I played this one minus 10% where it should have been max plus 10%, and that's also the reason why we come up so high on the rough and then roll out for a wedge. The wedge is easy though. Use the top spin and then it should be a wedge that you should be manage to sink. Do not be, afraid by looking at the info box and see a berserker, but there isn't really any pictures out there for the balls that do have a wind resistance 2 or wind resistance 3 together with a power 5 ball. So power 5 ball with a wind resistance 2 or 3, and that is what I want us to go with. Cataclysm for the second shot, or in a worst case scenario, the Horizon. Tough hole, take the eagle and just run. So for hole number 4, there is definitely a great value in having power 0, wind 5 balls. So we're gonna start with slightly less than 5 backspin. We're not gonna play with 5 backspin total, like 4.8, 4.9 backspin, and then with 2.2 side spin to the left, which is going to be the same as the maximum amount you can get with a power 0, with a side spin 1 ball. That's at least what we're looking for. Then we adjust minimum distance with a 30% over adjustment is what we're gonna do, and then we take the shot and the ball hits perfect and the ball is going to bounce, and then we're going to get it up and we drop it for a nice hole-in-one. So, okay, what do we do then if we do not have any wind 5 power 0 to find the complete minimum distance line, but we do have a bunch of other wind 5 balls? That is that we first, step 1, we take whatever wind 5 ball we have, 8.2 wind, we either remember or we lock that in our notebook or Clash Caddy or whatever application we're having, and notice that we're gonna play 8 rings. Then we change to a Marlin ball that gives us side spin 1 and also obviously the back spin. So we set the spin with a Marlin that we are going to have. We set the position as we should have. Then we adjust 8 rings. So we completely forget about that it says 15.6 with a Marlin. And then the final step, we change to whatever power 1, power 2, wind 5 ball that we do have, because now we're not in minimum distance. So now we can change to a different ball. And then we just take a normal shot from there, and you're gonna see we're gonna bounce at the same spot. And this scenario here, we just missed this one to the left, and that I do believe is due to having a little bit stronger wind than that we did have in the first try. So you can play this one with whatever wind 5 ball, but obviously you need to do a ball swap if you do not have a wind 5 power 0, but I wanted to present that as I do know how few people or how few players out there have balls like that. For hole number 5, we're going to get a very good opportunity getting this eagle here from distance. First, we do want to start by playing with 7 bars of topspin. We start at plus 7 yard mark with half of the red ring inside the rough there to the right. Then we're going to adjust maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment. Once we're done, we're going to go with 1 ball of curl. You have a perfect marker there with the curl, and then we're also going to add just a teeny tiny bit of overpower. So we're just going to want the ball to start wobbling, and that is the overpower we do want to use. If you do have a club that do not possess 7 bars of topspin, then you make sure to go with a little bit more overpower to compensate for the less topspin you can use. 384 yard mark, and that's an important yardage to go with. Now for the second shot, we're going to try to dial this one in, obviously. 3.5 bar topspin, and I'm using max side spin to the right that I can get with this type of ball. Ball guideline to the hole, but here I do make a tiny mistake here. That is that I don't let the ball guideline go through the hole, so we need to add a teeny tiny bit of topspin here and kind of be, I would call it, be focused on the fact that you do need to get the ball guideline in the same way all the time. If you go a little bit further up, you need more topspin because you have shorter distance towards the pin. If you are further back down, you obviously need to reduce topspin because you're going to have a longer ball guideline. If I would just have compensated a little bit there, added the topspin needed, then I would be getting that in the hole for a very rare eagle on this course. For hole number 6, we're going to find ourselves in the same type of situation as we are going to be on other par 5 holes, where we, in my opinion, would be giving ourselves a much easier time playing with a power 4 ball in some sort. Here I play with the cyber ball, using, in this case, 7 bars of topspin and as much side spin to the left possible, starting with the blue ring by the rough there to the left. And then I adjust maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment. And then you can see that I'm using overpower, so the needle, or like the tip of the needle, is going over the black ring, or whatever we can call it, while going back and forth over there. So, and then we go half a ball of curl, and you're gonna notice here that with a great left, perfect, and even with a great right, you will have no problem getting that one to fairway. Second shot, now we're going to attempt a rough bump, and here we do like to go with a lot of topspin because we do want this ball to roll a pretty far bit here. And my suggestion here would be to play this one minus 20% from whatever club range you're having. So if you play medium distance, you play medium distance. If you have maximum distance, you play maximum distance, and so forth. And this one, you're going to notice that you're going to see this ball coming in many times on the right side of the pin, where I think that we do need to kind of offset a little bit on the left hand side to make sure that we're getting to the point that we do want. We still clip the rough though, and we get this one fairly close towards the pin, even with a double great left, and that just speaks towards, you know, it's a massive under adjustment, and we're gonna get there. But in the end, I take this as an eagle hole. If I would drop an albatross, I for sure hope that's going to be the lucky drop in the weekend round. For hole number 7, we're going to play a drive with 3.5 bar backspin and max right spin, or like max right spin. It's going to be the maximum right spin possible to go with when it comes to a side spin 1 ball. Half of the blue ring inside the rough there to the right. And then here we do want to play this one maximum distance with a 20% over adjustment. As you maybe noticed there, I played that one only 10%. So we need to be really focused with that and go that extra ring that is needed. Tiny bit of curl to the right, just push ourselves a little bit more to the right there as well. And then we're going to bounce on the fairway, getting it over and land somewhere between 295 and 300 yards generally. And then for the second shot, we're going to go for a rough bump from distance. And here we're going to have to find a spot that we do want to try to replicate all the time. And then obviously just tweak spin from there. 25% over adjustment is my general stance on this one, but I'm not ruling out that the elevation might be tweaked a little bit going forward due to the fact that whatever makes a drop in the end is what we're going to continue to go with. So if that's going to be 20% or 30%, I don't care. The only thing is, can we dial it in? And 25% will obviously work, that you will hit the rough without any problems, and you will be able to dial it in from there as well. Those of you that do not want to play with a 3-point ball, or with a Burns ball, like it's the same type of stats, then you can use a Centurion or a Kingmaker, where a Centurion obviously is my more, suggested type of ball if you are going to play with another type of power 3 ball. So in the end, a decent chance here for hole number 7. Not the best chance, but definitely a possible drop. For the final par 3 in this playthrough, we are going to attempt a very aggressive line, which is going to be the rough bump. First, we do set up our shot with no spin. Ball guideline to the left side of the cup there. And then we're going to apply half a bar of backspin once we have set up our position. Then we're going to adjust for minimum distance with a 10% over adjustment. The thing that I do here though is that I adjust for a minimum distance with, in this case, 10% over adjustment power 2 ball. So the thing that we do want to do is a minimum adjustment power 1 ball with 10%. And you can see there that we just clipped the right edge of the rough there by over adjusting a little bit. And as there is a couple of decimals margin when it, difference between a power 1 and a power 2 ball setup, that's why we're going to change. We're going to keep the power 2 ball as a ball, but then we're going to adjust from a power 1 ball setting. So that is going to be that with minimum distance, 10%, rough bump, perfect ball is going to be either just burning the edge of the cup or it's going to be in the hole. Obviously, might not be the most safest way, but at the moment there isn't that many other good routes out there, but definitely going to compile and look for different and alternative routes to the rough bump here as well going forward. For hole number 9, I do think it's very, very important to play with a power 4 ball. It don't have to be the dead ball. It can be the open ball, the athlete ball. It could be a cyber ball. There is tons of different power 4 balls with either wind resistance 3 or 4. Start at +1 if you do have an Apocalypse level 7 or level 8. Otherwise, with an Apocalypse level 5 or level 6, I want you to start higher up. The reason I want you to start higher up with a lower level Apocalypse is because you do not have that much topspin. If you're playing with an Apocalypse level 5 or level 6, once again, you have to go with max overpower, in my opinion, to be able to get the ball to bounce completely over the rough there. You can see how close we were, and then we did still go with a decent amount of distance with our Apocalypse level 8. So that is very important that you have that in mind. Rather go with a little bit more overpower than less. You don't want to cross the to climb over the rough just completely. You do want to give yourself at least some room there. For the second shot, it's either going to be the Cataclysm if you have it in level 7+. Otherwise, you're going to play with the Horizon. And we're going to play medium distance with a 10% over adjustment. And here we line up with the red ring by the rough line, and obviously that's going to be depending on what type of club you're having, because the accuracy is deciding how big the rings are. Adjusting medium distance +10, and then in the end we're going to go with a decent amount of curl here, I would say. You can see that we're using kind of half a ball of curl. I would like us to use 1 ball of curl, because if we would be hitting great left here, we would definitely roll this one into the rough there on the left hand side. You can see how close we are, and that's obviously not an entirely correct type of way to take that shot. So go with a little bit more curl, then you're gonna have more room and don't have to be so close. And obviously we rather take a putt on the green than we take a wedge from before the green. Thank you so much everyone for watching this playthrough for Master Divisions for the Winter Major Tournament. God, it's gonna be a super tough tournament, this one, and every drop is going to count. There is, tough holes where it comes to especially hole 3, which is going to be like we're gonna see a lot of players miss the eagle there, and you need to be spot on with basically every shot here to have a chance. There is drop opportunities when it comes to hole number 1, hole number 2, I would say 4, 5, and then I could stash to 7 and 8 as well. But in the end, it's not as we had in all the tournaments where, you know, there was a super good chance just that we do hit perfect. Now we have some work to do, but I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button before you go. Get the text guides from patreon.com/golfclashtommy. There you can get a big advantage to your opponents in this tournament. Link to Patreon is in the description down below. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the tournament.